It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, the 10th day of December 2025. Welcome to Citizen News in Brief. My name is Wycliffe Orandi. Now, the Independent Medical and Legal Unit IMLU now says the year 2025 has been bad for the observance of human rights in the country. The organization says the government security agents were amongst those who violated human rights throughout the year, but most importantly, during protests. The organization wants the government to strengthen IPOA's investigation and arresting powers as a means to ensure that police and law enforcement agencies are held accountable.
2025, Kenya experienced a disturbing rise in 1. State repression, oppression of citizens, and suppression of voice, excessive use of force, targeted attacks on civil society, on journalists, on activists, on human rights defenders, shrinking civic space, systemic impunity by state institutions, and as documented in the People Power and Attack Report 2025 that was launched yesterday, 9th December by Civicus, Kenya Human Rights Commission and CFF, it additionally, unfortunately, categorizes Kenya as being in the oppressed state of human rights and democracy.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has praised the contingent of Kenyan police officers for the successful completion of an 18-month peacekeeping mission in Haiti. Murkomen said the officers demonstrated exceptional courage and professionalism, efforts that helped to restore a measure of order in the gang-ravaged Caribbean nation, including the recovery of key infrastructure such as healthcare facilities that had been seized by criminal gangs. The CS, together with the Inspector General of Police, however, expressed regret over the deaths of 3 officers while serving under the Multinational Security Support Mission. The first contingent of the Kenyan police officers returned home on Tuesday evening, receiving a warm welcome from the National Police Service and government officials.
In the presence of the rest of Kenyans, for many years, I think we have never really appreciated whom we are as Kenyans. We never quite really realize how far we've come as a country since independence. And we never appreciate the investment we've made in our country, in our police service, making it professional, the level of training, the level of expertise. It is only through this multinational security support mission that we have tested and proven that we are the best trained police officers on earth, not just in this country, on earth, having conquered areas that many people tried before and they never succeeded.
You have acquired great experience. That experience is going to assist us a lot, and Madam Monica Juma has mentioned that this is not the last mission. So the kind of experience that you have acquired is going to assist us as the National Police Service. So going forward, we are going to organize with the DIGs that we can have a good number of you. We form a committee so that we can be able to carry out what we call the after-action reviews.
Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi has accused his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame of violating his commitment to a US-brokered peace deal aimed at ending years of conflict in the country's mineral-rich east. Speaking during his State of the Nation address to the Congolese parliament, Tshisekedi claimed Rwanda had backed the M23 militia to launch an attack in South Kivu province, where 36 people were reportedly killed when the deal was being signed in Washington, D.C. According to media reports, M23 rebels advanced in an area close to the border with Burundi, seizing the village of Luvungi in a fierce exchange of fire that led to fatalities. DRC has maintained that the rebels are backed by Rwanda, but the Rwandese government has denied the allegations. President William Ruto, alongside US President Donald Trump, witnessed the signing of a peace deal on December 4th, committing to end years of bloodshed in the mineral-rich region. In other news now, in the corridors of justice, where the High Court has suspended the controversial 2.1 billion shillings roads deal between Nakuru County and the National Youth Service. The court has certified as urgent a petition filed by Paul Mushiri and Kefa Omuyoma, who had argued that the agreement was entered without a procurement process and public participation. The two want the court to issue conservatory orders suspending the county and NYS from operationalizing the deal that was entered on the 7th of November. In his ruling, Justice Julius Nangea certified the matter as urgent and issued a conservatory order or conservatory orders until the 19th of January, when the petition is slated for mention. Now, last week, the county entered into an MOU with the NYS to maintain all the feeder roads under the Imarisha Barabara program over the next year. Hundreds of girls are still struggling to access quality education in many marginalized communities, from arid and semi-arid regions to informal settlements. According to the latest report by the National Gender and Equality Commission, despite education being a fundamental right, structural barriers, cultural norms and economic pressures continue to keep girls out of the classroom. The inequality stretches to female teachers, where a low number has been deployed to the ESL areas.
Like when we are talking about the competency-based approach that we have taken, it is about nurturing everybody's potential. But if we have gendered notions, and yet there is this boy who is really good at cooking, tutaanza kumwambia nini? Cooking is for who? And yet that is their talent. They can become a chef, not even in a 5-star hotel, in a 7-star hotel. I know some of you do not know that 7-star hotels are there, but they are there. And you're stopping them because of a gendered notion.
We can just see it as a report and we walk away. But I'm calling upon anyone who comes from a rural area like I do, please examine that kitchen where your mother, where your auntie and the other people are cooking. Because it is about someone's life. And because we as men are not the ones who cook, so the money you spend on gas is just, you know, I can go to a pub and drink, 2,000 bob in a night. But I wouldn't spend that to refill, someone's gas to save a life. That's how serious this evidence is. And some of the interventions may be as simple as cooking outside.
The report reveals gaps in leadership represented, especially for women serving in boards of management and parent-teacher associations. These gaps weaken the voice of the community and slow progress toward gender transformative school governance. We have taken note of that. At the moment, we are in the process of actually coming up with a new education bill. And in that bill, we intend to ensure the aspect of gender representation is entrenched. And so we have, as a ministry, struggled over the years, right from the curriculum development to pedagogy and assessments, to ensure that our education system is gender responsive.
If she manages to clock 1,225 hours on Thursday, Truphena Muthoni will have set a new world record as the only human being to ever hug a tree continuously for 72 hours, having broken her own record earlier in the day that stood at 48 hours. The 22-year-old environmentalist, who has 20 hours remaining on the clock, is braving changing weather conditions in a feat she says is part of her environmental conservation efforts for indigenous trees and communities. The exercise that she had hoped to undertake at the COP30 in Brazil is underway at the Nyeri County government offices in Nyeri town. Take a look.
And I'm trying to tell people that we should come back to nature, because we can only coexist with nature, and nature has healing. Also, it is to influence people to fall in love with nature, because I believe that, and we believe that conservation begins with love. because we must nurture 1 million people who care before we plant 1 million trees.
Well, I hope she makes it to tomorrow. If she has 20 hours remaining, then that will mean we'll catch up with her tomorrow and see whether she broke that record. All the best. Now, Kenya's youth has been called upon to maintain their fight for inclusion in the country's governance if they intend to take part in driving the country forward towards the future they yearn for. Now, the call has been made on day one of the inaugural Nyeri Youth Summit, currently underway at the Kamukunji Stadium, where youth from different parts of the country are gathered to dissect Nyeri's youth policy incorporated in the county's governance structure early this year. Former Anti-Corruption Commission Chair Professor PLO Lumumba challenged youth not to let their sacrifices in the past go down the drain, but push more in order to achieve their dreams.
The message is, throughout the ages, countries have always risen on the back of our young men and women. And it is the duty of young people not to paralyze themselves by being too analytical and not doing anything.
All the youth must realize that even in the Bible, it says, since the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of God suffereth violence, and it is the violent who take it by force. Nobody is going to sit back and give you anything in this country. You have to fight for your space.
We want to know where are we now, and where are we heading as per the implementation of the youth policy. So our outputs are basically on the implementation of the youth policy. How are the youth being incorporated in the budget, and are we going to get a functional youth directorate?